Hi, I'm John Arana, and this is Karina San
Hey,
Martin.
everybody.
And for those of you that might not know, this is our daughter, Karina, and she's one of our pastors here and a great speaker
Aw.
and just really, really amazing person.
Aw, thanks,
So
John.
it's a joy to do this with
Yes,
you.
it is.
Oh man, I love it. So we're just going to talk a little bit again about moving forward. There's a lot of things that are going on, and there's always a need to move forward
There's
in life.
I was going to say, there's always something going on. There's
Yeah.
always a reason to grow. There's
Oh,
always
my gosh.
something you have to push through.
Yeah, something you have to learn.
And I guess it's like kind of annoying, but also good at the same time, because
Yeah.
those are signs of growth
Yeah,
and signs
yeah.
of something being alive and
Yes.
thriving,
Yeah.
Because when none of that's happening, that means it's dying or it's dead.
That's a problem.
Yeah,
That's a
so
problem. If
take it with joy.
somebody said if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
You know? So
I mean,
there's always something to push forward to, whether
right.
it's marriage, relationship, kids, finances,
Oh,
your
yes.
job, your career.
Yeah.
So this is really practical and really, really good. We talked a little bit about the importance of moving forward and how do you replace things and so on and so forth. So today we're going to talk a little bit about 4 moves to go forward. And so we're going to go ahead and start talking about that, the importance of that. And this is good in all dimensions of life, relationships, your job, your career, your relationship with God, and so on and so forth. So the first one is these all hit hard, but they are also uplifting.
Yeah.
But the first one is, let's move from duplicity to authenticity. And sometimes we live in a world of appearances. We live in a world of performing.
Oh yeah.
You see the ads on TV and you go like, I know that's not true about that product.
Right.
But it sure sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even in some aspects of marketing, they make a lie sound like truth. So we live in that kind of world within the media, social media.
I think that's a huge one that's kind of really evolved society is social media.
It's taken over.
Yeah, and it's like this. It's this whole avenue of like a space for people to only show what they want to be seen. And it's very rare that you'll see a mom posting like her most terrible day with her kids. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing's going right. She had like a total meltdown. The kid got sent home from school. Like nobody posts about that kind of stuff.
Nobody wants to show you that side.
And it's just it's like it is super refreshing when you experience an authentic person.
Oh man, that's a breath of fresh air.
Yes,
when you meet someone that you could tell they're genuine, they're real.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean putting all your guts out there.
No, of course not.
But it does mean that you're self-aware and you're connected with people.
Yeah.
So I love what Romans chapter 8 verse 29 says. It says, for whom he foreknew, he also predestined or predetermined to be conformed to the image of his son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. So, the question for me is, how authentic was Jesus?
Right.
I think that he was incredibly authentic, probably the most authentic person that has ever lived.
Yeah.
And I think authenticity and Christ-likeness are synonymous.
I like that.
That's
really good.
And I think that one of the big challenges in Christianity or in even most religions is learning to be authentic.
Yeah, there's so much put on.
So much put on.
What you present or the facade or
Yes.
appearing a certain way.
Yeah.
And I think that gets broken down when we stop passing judgment on people,
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
for what they do or don't do or can or can't do or
Exactly.
have done or have not done, you
Yeah.
know, and I think for me, that's a big core of being an authentic person,
That's
is
right.
not feeling like I have the place to judge anybody,
Yeah.
because number one, it's not my job.
Yeah,
You know,
sure,
I can assess
exactly.
somebody
Of
based on
course. Yeah.
their actions and
You
make
can
my
assess
own.
their fruit,
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
Their
but
fruit.
not their heart
Exactly.
intentions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and even the fruit, sometimes you don't know why or how that got there.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that the
Yeah.
judgment is
Yeah.
so different than like you were saying,
Evaluating the fruit of people, the
and
results of their labor or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you're right. Jesus was so authentic and he was so real
Yeah.
and he was so non-judging.
Yeah.
I think he was just non-judging.
Yeah. I think one of the ways for me that has helped me, you know, in this journey of authenticity is knowing your values. You know, what do you really value as important in your life? Now, there's a lot of important things in life, but what are your core?
Yeah.
What are your
really
core
good.
values, you know? And if you have that clear, and it took me a long time to get those clear.
Yeah, sure.
You know, but if you have those core values clear, then it's easier for you to be aware that that is what I'm authentic towards. You know,
That's so good.
if loving people is a core value of my life, then anytime I get into an interaction, then I want to do good for that person. I want to help that person feel good about themselves. I want that person to, I want to help them to believe in themselves, you know. And so when you have your core values clear, then it's easier to say, okay, this is what I'm about.
Yeah.
So I'm going to work on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that gives you a compass for your own life to also evaluate yourself and ask, you know, like, how am I doing? Am I being authentic with these things? Am I being true to what I've decided between me and God, what my values are, what I want to stand for, which obviously, hopefully, would coincide with Christ-like character. And, you know, and one of those characteristics is to be loving and to be kind and accepting and all that stuff, you know. But I think that you hit on something really good, because sometimes if you don't have, like, if you haven't defined in your own brain what you are about, what you stand for,
what are you moving forward towards?
Yeah, it's almost like you don't really have anything to measure authenticity against, you know, because you kind of probably just go with the wind. Yeah. You know, and that's not always going to take you to a place of authenticity.
And what was that movie, The Wizard of the Wizard of Oz? And is it Dorothy? Dorothy gets to I don't know who said it, so don't quote me.
I might know.
Somebody got to the fork of the road, and they said, well, which way should I go? And then they said, well, which way do you want to go? What, do you have a direction? And she says, well, not really. And the guy said, well, then it doesn't matter which way you go. You know, if you don't know where you're going, then it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
There's no inspiration, no motivation.
Right. There's really no right turn or right path.
Yeah. So you're like, well, it doesn't matter. I'll do this today. I'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then there's that duplicity. We say one thing, but then we act a different way.
Right. Because a lot of times we end up doing what the moment says, or
what we prefer,
what the crowd is saying, or what the vibe is doing. And that's always constantly changing.
That's a tough one.
You know, and so, authenticity is something I think that you have to work at. You have to be intentional with. Yeah. And
it's a process.
I was just going to say,
it's not an event.
It's a process. And I think it's also, to help with this, it's important to surround yourself with people that you can be your true self.
They value that.
And they value that, and they pull that out of you, and they don't make you feel like bad when you're authentic, or like, oh, I only want to see the good parts of you.
Yeah, you go. I like that.
Show me the bad part of you. I don't want to be around you.
Okay.
I'm done
We're
with
done
you.
here. We're done.
You know, and it will help you filter out, maybe these aren't my people if I can't, you know. I mean, you should also have people that encourage you to grow and be better.
But that's
But
part of authenticity
that's a
too.
part of authenticity,
Recognizing
valuing
that
that. Yeah.
you have
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
grow,
Mhm.
and
Right.
and a good friend, allows room for your authenticity.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know,
Exactly.
and
Yeah. That's so good.
authenticity doesn't always mean that you're the star or that you do
No.
everything right,
No.
like
I
you were
think
saying.
contrary. It means like you're showing your
It's
flaws,
okay.
and
Yeah,
it's a safe space to do that. And then not only are you just showing your flaws, but you're finding ways to grow.
yeah, yeah.
And those people encourage you to grow.
That's
They
good.
don't condemn you
Yeah,
when you're authentic, but
yeah.
they love and accept you, but they're like, hey, have you thought about
Sure.
this, or have you tried
Exactly.
this?
Yeah,
And you don't feel that judgment, and you're
that's
like,
right.
oh, they've seen this side of me, but instead of shunning me, they're holding me accountable,
That's
they're
right.
welcoming
And they're
me in,
encouraging you
they're
to
encouraging me.
move
Yeah.
forward,
And
keep growing.
so I think like we should strive to be that person for other
For other
people, and
people,
we
yeah.
should also strive to be authentic
Yeah.
when we need to.
And I
Yeah.
think it's important to find that safe place, like you
Yeah,
were
that is
mentioning.
important.
Very important,
That is
because if
important.
you try to be authentic with someone
You
that
can't
is
do it
not
with
safe place,
everybody. Yeah.
man, they end up hammering you.
At least that's been my experience. You can't do this with everybody. I mean,
No.
it would be great if that was reality, but
Yeah.
it's really not.
Yeah, no. So being authentic, I think, is part of how we move forward,
yeah.
in everything, in all of our relationships.
Oh,
and
it's huge in
and
relationships.
oh my God, it's number one
Yeah.
in my book.
Yeah.
So the next thing we want to talk a little bit about is how people attend things, especially church,
Mhm.
even family gatherings,
Yeah.
but people are not connected,
Mm.
so going from being a attendee to being family,
Yeah.
it's a huge uh, step forward, because even people that
That's
are
right.
biologically family,
Mhm.
don't live like family.
Mhm. Sure.
There's no interaction, there's
Mhm.
no real meaningful conversations,
Mhm.
and people are
Yeah.
just coming and going and passing
Yeah.
each other,
Right. Yeah.
through in the kitchen and the
Yeah.
living room and that kind of thing. So I think one of the things that I see is that if you're connected with God, then you begin to have this principle that God is your father.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now you become part of a family.
Yes.
And to become part of a family means you need to engage.
Mhm.
You
Oh
need to
yeah.
engage with people.
Yes, definitely. And I to me this speaks to the principle of with moving forward and growing and all of that, to finding a space or a group or a family that you
I like
choose
that. I like
to
that.
belong to.
Yeah. Yeah.
That you, like you were saying, that you're not just like kind of on the outskirts and the fringes.
Yes.
um and there's a space for that, because
Sure.
you don't want to be intimately belonging to every single avenue of your entire life, because
That's right.
you're gonna like eventually really belong nowhere.
There you go. There you go.
But finding that those core spaces,
Almost,
whether
it's almost like finding your tribe.
it's like
Right?
finding your tribe that is going to help you move forward in life.
Yeah.
It might be some church friends, or it might be a group of friends,
Yeah.
that can support you and
Yeah.
encourage you in a godly way, or
Yeah.
and I think there are different levels, and
Yeah.
because you have family, but then
Yeah.
you have friends, but it's important to take the steps of authenticity and intimacy
Yeah.
to really belong.
Exactly. I think one of the things that I look for is equal value,
Yeah.
different functions,
Yeah, that's good. That's
and
good.
so I look
That's so
for
good.
that in relationships where it's obviously, outside of my family,
Yeah.
biological family,
Right.
uh, because I already have that in my biological family. But when I go out and start deciding who am I going to be real friends with,
Yeah.
what tribe am I going to belong to,
Yeah.
what group am I going to relate to or identify, I got to have equal value.
Yes.
And
100%.
different functions, but equal value. If I'm part of a group that tries to diminish my value, even though they appreciate my function,
Hmm.
then I'm like, okay, this is not my tribe.
Yeah.
You
Right,
know, because
right.
you don't want to be part of something that makes you feel diminished.
No,
You want to be
definitely
part
not.
of something that inspires you,
Hmm.
motivates you, and sees you as equal,
Yeah, yeah,
equal in value.
100%,
Yeah,
yes. Because I think that also creates that safety to
yeah,
have a place or a group of people where you can move forward in life with.
yeah.
You can grow in. They can, they're going to encourage you. They're not encouraging you to stay in the same space your whole life.
Right, right.
I mean, at least for me personally, that those are not the people I want around me
That's
that are
right.
going to be like, oh,
Yeah,
you're not growing, you're not changing,
yeah,
you're not, moving forward in life, and that's fine. Stay here
yeah.
forever. You want to be accepted and loved, but you also want to be encouraged
And to
to
sharpen.
grow and to
Yeah,
sharpen and
yeah.
to move forward in life. And so I think that this is a big key, because a lot of times you can't do that by yourself. You
No,
need people around
no,
you
no.
to help
Yeah.
you do that. Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to bring up is the whole issue of racism
Hmm.
and prejudice.
Mm.
And unfortunately, is everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have made some progress in
Hmm.
our country. Uh, so thank God we've made some progress, but we're still not
Oh yeah. Still.
done with that.
No. No.
And that's another issue that I look at.
Hmm.
Are these people skewed?
Mm-hmm.
Or there's some kind of prejudice
Hmm.
against certain cultures, because
Hmm.
I love all the cultures. We have a lot of different cultures in our church,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, we do.
I see that as a plus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But the other thing that I want, so I believe that we need to move away from racism.
Yeah, of
We we
course.
we can't
Yeah.
we can't. So that's one issue. The other issue is people. There are sometimes that you have to let go of some relationships.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
this also addresses, what are my friends?
Yeah. Hmm.
If my friends are encouraging me to go to a destructive path,
Hmm.
man, I gotta cut that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they're not wanting to be reasonable or even encourage me in my decision to go certain path,
Hmm.
like this is just a simple dumb example. Uh, if I don't want to drink alcohol,
Hmm.
but some of my friends might,
Hmm.
okay, but then when we get together, I have my ginger ale, they're having their drink, but then they start, oh no, come on, you gotta have a drink, come on,
Hmm.
you gotta have a drink, yeah.
Hmm.
And I'm like, hey dude, come on,
Yeah.
this is not what I want to do,
Yeah. Right.
so if those are my circle of influence,
Hmm.
I'm gonna need to cut loose.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
they don't want to embrace me
Right.
for my commitment,
Right.
that
Yeah.
doesn't mean they have to make the same
Yeah.
commitment.
Exactly.
But if they don't want to embrace me for my commitment, then I
Exactly.
need to move forward.
Yeah. Yeah, because then that's going to pull you a direction you're not wanting
Yeah,
to go. And
yeah,
yeah, so definitely having the right people around you and a belonging, a space to belong that is going to
yes.
encourage you
That's
to
a good
move
word.
forward,
Belong.
I
Yeah,
think is huge
yeah,
when you're trying to
yeah,
grow in life and move from the next point to the next point.
yeah,
And I think your point is really great that sometimes those groups might change
yeah,
depending on
yeah,
where your next step is,
yeah,
and it's okay to make those adjustments,
yeah,
especially if that group or where you are is not encouraging you
yeah,
to move
yeah.
forward. Yeah.
But what a wonderful thing when you find people
Oh yeah.
that embrace you and you embrace them
Yes.
and you support each other.
Yeah.
You might have
It's a sweet spot.
you
Yeah.
might have different commitments to different things, but
Hmm.
you have the same commitment to the relationship.
Yes, and
And
that's really
man,
great.
that's how our iron sharpens
Yeah.
iron.
Yep.
And so, if you got some friends that are not doing you any good,
Yeah.
you might need to rethink it,
Sure.
because in order to move forward, you got to have those healthy relationships.
It's important.
Yeah.
Very important. Yeah.
So I think that kind of
wraps it up for today.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I think that's enough for one day.
Yeah.
And we just encourage you to think about these things, evaluate your life, and make some adjustments to
Mhm.
move forward. Because as you move forward, you're going to see progress.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's what we
Very
want.
good. Yeah. Well, thanks for being here with us this
Thank
week. We're so glad you joined us, and we'll be here next week.
Yeah.
Same time, same place,
At
and
the
we'll
drop.
continue on with these 4 moves forward. We'll give you the next 2. So we'll see
Yeah.
you next week.
All right. Thank you.